Let's start with what you know today. You've gathered some facts or some data to support why your idea is necessary. And they usually follow some format like this. X% of people do this. Some portion of people do this, like 30% of school children take the bus to school. Now, this could be information you collected from your own customers. This is primary research, or secondary research, some research or trend report that you got online, or from a secondary person. You didn't actually do the research yourself. This is other people's data. And everyone engages in some sort of market research to some extent, right? And here's what that might look like. If you're Uber, you might have a statement that says 30% of all smartphone users also take public transportation. If you're Quibi, which is a mobile-only content entertainment app, might say something like, average daily mobile content viewing has increased to 80 minutes, and 5G will accelerate that trend. If you're Impossible Burger, a meat alternative, China is the largest consumer of meat, 27%, versus the US, 9%. These statements all reflect a market condition, a trend, an observation, a metric, all reflect market conditions. Something exists. But just because something is true does not mean that it's going to be true for you. A trend, a metric is not indicative that your idea will be adopted. Market conditions are not evidence of market adoption. So just because 30% of smartphone users also take public transportation does not mean that they're going to download your app, Uber. And just because there are 80 minutes of mobile viewing minutes today does not mean that any number of those minutes will be spent on your platform, Quibi. And Impossible Burger, just because an entire nation eats a whole lot of real meat, that does not mean that they're going to eat any portion of your fake meat. The goal of what must be true is to go beyond the facts and get to your underlying belief about that data. Your belief or assumption is what must be true in order for your guess, your hypothesis, to be correct. So the question is, why do you believe that data is important to your hypothesis? And if you were Uber, you would respond back, well, we believe that this group would be adopters of this platform. If you're a Quibi, why do you believe that people watch 80 minutes of mobile viewing minutes is important to your hypothesis? Well, you would respond, well, we believe that some portion of those 80 minutes will be spent on our platform. And over to Impossible Burger, they may respond, well, we believe omnivores will be willing to eat our meat as an alternative. This exercise sets you up for accountability. How do you prove that 30% of people with smartphones and take public transportation would be adopters of your platform? By the way, let's talk about Quibi for a second, right? This statement, average daily mobile content viewing has increased to 80 minutes and 5G will accelerate that trend, was a statement made by its CEO, Meg Whitman, who's the former CEO of Hewlett-Packard. Now, their product is a mobile-only content app, right? Each piece of content is less than 10 minutes. And they hypothesize that people would be willing to pay to watch short bursts of entertainment. But the app fell out of top 50 downloads within a week of it launching in April of this year. Now, we wrote about Quibi in a blog post a couple months ago called Everybody Has a Plan Until They Get Punched in the Mouth. And we'll drop that in the link in the chat, where we highlighted the numerous assumptions that Quibi was making and concluded that they likely did not have product market fit. And we were right. They didn't have a strategy to spot a good idea. As of last week, they are in the news. They are on the auction block. The founders are trying to sell the company, and they only launched 5 months ago. So what about your idea? If you say this has never been done before, understand that you have at least 4 assumptions. One is you assume that your idea actually solves a problem. You assume that people will know what to do with it when they see it. You assume people are willing to use it or buy it. And you assume that you can actually deliver the solution. All guesses are assumptions, and that's what a hypothesis is. It's a guess. But think about this right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and we have a design challenge, learning during a pandemic. The problem? Children are prevented from going to school. They are prevented from learning together. And they need a way to continue learning without having to be physically together. At least that's how I would phrase it, right? And so there's a solution in place, virtual schooling. But what assumptions did the approver of this idea of virtual schooling make? Number one, they assumed that virtual schooling would be a good way to learn, that it would solve a problem. where we see that some people are not thriving under this new platform. They assume that people would know how to use it. Well, we're also seeing that it's not easily adopted by people. We're assuming that people were willing to use it, but we're seeing teachers, students, and parents revolt over this solution. And they assume that they can deliver a working platform. And we're seeing that they're having problems with that as well. So were they right? And this kind of reminds me of the healthcare.gov fiasco back in 2000 something, where the site crashed the day it was released. What assumptions did they make? How many people would be on this platform? Would it work? Would people know how to use it? Instead, they went forward with all those assumptions and unfortunately ended up with egg on their face. The beauty of listing your assumption is now you know what you don't know. What are you going to do about it? Now, you can't say that you don't have any assumptions if you're doing something new. How confident are you that a market condition will correlate to a market adoption? Market research alone does not prove that you are correct in your hypothesis. So in our example here, Instagrocer, what do we believe about the market? Well, we believe that people will trust a stranger to pick up their groceries. What do we believe about our business model? We believe that people are willing to pay a fee, let alone this fee, to have their groceries delivered. We believe that we can deliver this product, that we can actually deliver customer service. We believe that our intended target group will choose this solution over the competition or alternatives. And we believe financials, we believe our operating costs will be X, our profit margin will be X%, we'll be profitable by this time. These are all assumptions, right? This is the opportunity to look critically at the information you have and be honest about what you don't know, because this is the starting point to making your ideas better. Now, a good idea is a true idea. There is product market fit when people do what you expect them to do, right? When we say in our hypothesis that busy parents are willing to spend $10 a month to have their groceries delivered, then our assumption that they are willing to let a stranger pick up their groceries must be true. So acknowledging these assumptions initiates fact-finding and opportunities for refinement. Do we need to pivot, or are we on the right track? And that's what we'll get into next.